Welcome back. Up today on the playoff history playlist is the Edmonton Oilers. Now, the Edmonton Oilers, they've had a rough go of it, right? However, what we're looking at right now with the Oilers is the best chance at success we've seen in a very long time. This is a team that won 5 Stanley Cups, but their most recent was in 1990. So they had this great dynasty, and then it kind of fell apart. And so where we come into this is the 99-2000 season, right? Where they're 32, 26, 16, and 8. And they had to meet a nemesis in the first round. As a Dallas fan, I got to be honest, I enjoyed the matchup with the Oilers. There was an occasion where the Oilers scored an upset victory, but then Dallas made them pay. They knocked him out in 5 games in the first round in 2000. Doug Weights the leading scorer for the Oilers, 77 games, 21 goals, 51 assists, 72 points. And in the playoffs, 5 games played, 3 goals, 2 assists. And at a time where the Oilers were having a hard time getting star players and veterans to, stick around, Doug Weight played there for quite a while. And he was their leader amongst the offensive players. Of course, Ryan Smith is one of the most memorable players during that era as well. 2000-2001, they finished 39, 28, 12, and 3. In the playoffs, Dallas takes them out again. So it's a bad matchup for Edmonton. They did it this time in 6 games. Doug Weights the leading scorer again. 82 games, 25 goals, 65 assists, 90 points. In the playoffs, 6 games, 1 goal, 5 assists, 6 points. So Doug Weights the leader. Things are going all right in Edmonton, but again, they're a lower seed. They're always counting on, catching the other team off guard, and Dallas had already been victimized by them, so not happening. 2001-2002, the Oilers fall out of the playoffs, 38, 28, 12, and 4. Mike Comrie's their leading scorer, 82 games, 33 goals, 27 assists, 60 points. Easy to forget Mike Comrie had a 30-goal season in there, isn't it? So this is where the Oilers look like, maybe it's rebuild time again, right? However, in 2002-2003, they do make the playoffs. They actually win fewer games than the season before, but they finished above the playoff line. 36, 26, 11, and 9. They lost in 6 games in the first round against Dallas. So Dallas takes them out again. It's like, hey, you guys are back after a year off, and you're gone. Ryan Smith's the leading scorer that year, 66 games, 27 goals, 34 assists, 61 points. In 6 playoff games against Dallas, he scores 2 goals. So we go to 03-04, the last year before we have a salary cap. 36, 29, 12, and 5 is the record for Edmonton. Not too far off what they had the year before, but it's below the playoff line. Ryan Smith's the leading scorer again. That requires a Y, not an I. Otherwise, it's Jason Smith, and Jason Smith didn't have 59 points in a season. So 82 games that year for Ryan Smith, 23 goals, 36 assists, 59 points. So the lockout takes out the following season, and we get a salary cap, which seems to help teams like Edmonton. The first year in a cap era, 05-06, they finished 41, 28, and 13. The 13 overtime and shootout loss points end up getting them in the playoffs, and they make it count. It's not necessarily how you get there, it's what you do when you're there. So they win in round 1 against Detroit in 6, which was a huge upset. Then in the second round against San Jose, they win in 6, again considered an upset. And then they beat the Anaheim Ducks in the conference finals and move on to the Stanley Cup Final. And Chris Pronger is a hero at this stage for the Oilers. In the final, Dwayne Rollison gets hurt. Things kind of fall off the rails for Edmonton. However, it takes 7 games for the Carolina Hurricanes to win the Cup and eliminate the Edmonton Oilers and take away the hopes and dreams of Canadian fans looking for a Canadian team to win a Cup. Hemsky was the leading scorer for the Oilers that year. 81 games, 19 goals, 58 assists, 77 points. During the playoffs, 24 games, 6 goals, 11 assists, 17 points. And of course, Fernando Pisani became a big name too. There were a lot of interesting Oiler players during that run to the Stanley Cup Final. But of course, the summer of 06, we then see Pronger leaving and all the controversy that follows that. He goes to Anaheim. Anaheim wins the Cup in 2007. Edmonton doesn't make the playoffs in 2007. They finished 32, 43, and 7. Ryan Smith leads them in scoring, 53 games, 31 goals, 22 assists, 53 points. He will be on his way to the New York Islanders. And, of course, he has a tearful goodbye for Edmonton when he leaves. But 07, 08, they're outside the playoffs again. 41, 35, and 6. No playoffs. Hemsky's the leading scorer, 74 games, 20 goals, 51 assists, 71 points. So Ales Hemsky, good player, leading scorer for Edmonton, but they just don't have what it takes to get to the playoffs at this stage. And this is the start, of course, of what would be a very long run. 2008, 2009, they finished 38, 35, and 9. They're still winning enough games that there is a belief that, hey, we're not far off. So they did put in an offer sheet on Dustin Penner, which Brian Burke reacted to in a very calm, rational manner. But yeah, no playoffs in 08-09. Hemsky's the leading scorer again, 72 games, 23 goals, 43 assists, 66 points. So we go to 2009-2010. This is where the bottom drops out. So they were 27, 47, and 8. Just a miserable season. Dustin Penner's the leading scorer, 82 games, 32 goals, 31 assists, 63 points. So excellent season for Penner to lead them in scoring. 2010-2011, they finished 25, 45, and 12. No playoffs, of course, as things continue to be bad for Edmonton. Eberle's the leading scorer, 69 games, 18 goals, 25 assists, 43 points. And this is the year, of course, Edmonton would have watched the Canucks go to the Stanley Cup Final. And again, this is, rebuild time in Edmonton. It's kind of ugly. 2011-2012, they finished 32, 40, and 10. No playoffs. Eberle's the leading scorer again, 78 games, 32 goals, 42 assists, 76 points. I also want to throw in that in May of 2011, I went to Edmonton for a Rammstein concert. I was impressed at the fact that Oiler fans were still supporting the Oilers despite them not being in the playoffs for a while, because sometimes in Vancouver it feels like fans will turn on a dime. And I thought it was kind of nice that Edmonton fans weren't turning against the team. At least that was my perception, just being in the city for a bit there. So we move on to 2012-2013. They finished 19, 22, and 7 in a lockout-shortened season. No playoffs. Taylor Hall's the leading scorer now. 45 games, 16 goals, 34 assists, 50 points. But again, there's no playoffs, so they've got Hall. They've added Nugent Hopkins. They've got a good core going here, but they're not getting the results out of it. 2013-2014, they finished 29, 44, and 9. Taylor Hall's the leading scorer again, 75 games, 27 goals, 53 assists, 80 points. But this is right around where some of that patience I'm praising from 2011 starts to kind of wear off. Like, okay, it's been about a decade. Things should be getting better. 2014-2015, they get worse, although there's a reason. They finished 24, 44, and 14 in a season where they don't mind finishing near the bottom of the league because Connor McDavid's in the draft, and he's kind of a big deal. So they don't make the playoffs. Eberle's the leading scorer again, 81 games, 24 goals, 39 assists, 63 points. And what was the third time and final time that Eberle leads the team in scoring? 2015-2016, the wins get a little better, 31, 43, and 8, no playoffs. Taylor Hall's the leading scorer, 82 games, 26 goals, 39 assists, 65 points. So we go into the 2016-2017 season. The Taylor Hall trade takes place. Everything kind of goes a little bit haywire, at least in the offseason, and yet in the regular season, finally, Edmonton has some success. 47, 26, and 9 is the record. In the first round, they eliminate San Jose in 6. So it's the first time they've won a round since the last time they were in the playoffs, which was 11 years prior. They do lose in the second round against Anaheim in 7. That is still a controversial result because Ryan Kessler, we all know the Ryan, right? So, yeah, it was a tough, bitter loss for Edmonton fans. When you look at what's happened since then, it kind of makes it more pronounced. That could have been their best chance, at least up until now. And we'll see whether or not 2021-2022 brings them a better opportunity. But that really felt like it was a big opportunity for them in 2017, because then they would have played Nashville in the next round. And I honestly think with the way the Oilers were playing, I think they would have had a good chance of knocking out Nashville. Anaheim, not as much. McDavid's the leading scorer, 82 games, 30 goals, 70 assists, and even 100 points. And McDavid starting to show the dominance that was expected when he was drafted in 2015. 2017-2018, they finished 36, 40, and 6. They're back outside the playoffs. So 2017, the comments I saw most often were between Oiler fans and Leaf fans on, well, which one is going to win more cups, Toronto or Edmonton? Because clearly with McDavid in one spot and Matthews in the other, they're going to win cups, right? And then it fell off the tracks in 2018 for Edmonton. McDavid, though, did his part. 82 games, 41 goals, 67 assists, 108 points. 2018-2019, they finished 35, 38, and 9. Again, no playoffs. McDavid's the leading scorer yet again. 78 games, 41 goals, 75 assists, 116 points. The remarkable thing with McDavid is you watch him get these 116, 110, 108 point seasons, and you're still not thinking, but he could probably score more. There's a lot more he can do, and it's not a question of his ability or his effort. You just know he's going to keep getting better. So 2019-2020, they finished 37, 25, and 9, and we have the pause. And as the top seed of teams in the round robin, the expectation was they would take out a Chicago Blackhawks team that didn't win a lot during the regular season, was seen as being kind of old over the hill. However, Chicago secures the upset. They eliminated the Oilers in a qualifying round series in 4, 3-1. So Draisaitl's great season kind of falls by the wayside just because the playoff result didn't go their way. He ends up with 71 games played, 43 goals, 67 assists, 110 points. And Draisaitl in the playoffs adds 3 goals and 3 assists for 6 points in 4 games. But again, the question mark with the Oilers has been, so you've got Draisaitl, you've got McDavid, and then the depth behind him does what? So 2020-2021, in the North, they finished 35, 19, and 2. Great regular season. They're up against Winnipeg, a team they handled during the regular season, and then Winnipeg sweeps them in the first round. So what we've got with the Oilers is a team that's now coming off of back-to-back pretty good regular seasons who have disappointed when the postseason arrives. McDavid, again, no fault on McDavid on this. 56 games, 33 goals, 72 assists, 105 points. In the playoffs, 4 games played, 1 goal, 3 assists. But McDavid now is going to be one of those players, and many superstars have gone through this, who people will say, well, yes, he gets all those points, but then in the playoffs, and whether it's fair or it's not, that's going to be the conversation, right? Even though McDavid's totals have been decent in the playoffs, it's going to, well, yeah, but. And really, I think it's a matter of Edmonton's depth being able to get it done. So when we look at number 1 draft picks during this era, 4 of them, they've had 4 of them. 2010, they drafted Taylor Hall. 2011, they drafted Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. 2012, they drafted Nail Yakupov. That was the year of fail for Nail, and little did we know that we got it wrong. It was Nail's going to fail. 2015, Connor McDavid, the number 1 pick, and of course, he is the centerpiece for this franchise. In 2014, drafting 3rd overall, they drafted Leon Draisaitl. Great pick. 2016, and drafting 4th overall, they drafted Jesse Puljujarvi, who is still coming into his own. And I think there's more offense there, and I think Edmonton's counting on more offense there from Puljujarvi. 2007. This says 2017. It should say 2007. So I'm going to change this right midstream here. 2007. Sam Gagne was drafted 6th overall. He, of course, is in Detroit now. 2013, drafting 7th overall, they drafted Darnell Nurse. And, of course, Nurse is making some money. And excellent defenseman. But, again, for the Oilers, they are in a similar position to other teams in the league that they need to show that success now in the playoffs. We have reached the point where the Oilers should be a playoff team every year, which is the first time that's happened since the turn of the century. So that right there is a progressive sign. However, they need to show that progress in the playoffs. And the question becomes one of, does McDavid eventually win a Stanley Cup? And if so, does he do that in Edmonton? And that's the question mark. I think he can. I think eventually it'll happen, but when? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.